Oh, we're live now. Mm, yes, yes. All right. It is Monday. It's not Wednesday, but of course we had to come on live today because tomorrow is election day. Excuse me. I got my homie, my friend. Ooh, excuse me. I was eating this Tecila's raw, y'all. I'm burping up something, but it's delicious. Y'all missed out. But I got my homie, my friend, Terrence Fowler on the line with me. He's going to join us in just a bit. But of course, we got to do the due diligence. If you're tuned in, if you're watching, make sure you go ahead and share the live. Let everybody know what time it is, what we're going to be talking about. We're going to be talking about these local elections. We're going to be talking about, of course, all the seats that are up and who's projected to win, what the numbers look like, and all of that fun stuff. But as I go ahead and do this live right now, share it to a group, share it to Albany Forward, of course. And y'all make sure you join the Albany Forward group because we always have a lot of fun, exciting stuff, positive stuff that's going on in Albany. There's always events of all kinds, job fairs and different stuff like that. It's always constantly in the Albany Forward group. So if you are looking for stuff to do, join the Albany Forward group. But then, of course, we all know what time it is, and we thank y'all for shopping online at easycopy.io. Shout out to all the orders that came in today. We got a good bit of them out. Miss Angela Jackson, your order is still here on the door if you come pick it up. And shoot, whoever else we got. But yes, appreciate y'all. Make sure y'all click that link and shop online for your branding and marketing materials. We make it easy to brand and market your business. And so, without further ado, we're going to jump right into it because we got a lot to talk about and a lot to cover, and I don't want to be here all night. So we're going to go ahead and jump. Mr. Terrence Fowler on the stage, man. What's going on, boss?
What's happening, brother? How you doing?
Man, I'm doing well. I am black and blessed. You know what I'm talking about? I'm black and blessed in this thing already.
Most definitely.
And so
Most definitely.
we got a lot of fun stuff to talk about. You sent me the early voting numbers as of May 2nd. So we can talk about that. We're gonna talk about all these key races, and we're gonna talk about the impact of the outcomes of these races and what we can expect in these coming days. So,
Right.
first, how's your day been though?
Man, they been cool, man. I mean, it's been a lot of I've been on a lot of calls today, but pretty cool, laid back, man. Just got out to just go try to put air in my kids' bike tires. But I wanted to make sure I jumped on. So,
Of course. Well, shoot, I'm still sharing too. I'm still sharing. And so we was talking about that before we got on that tomorrow is election day, and it should be a holiday whereby people have the right to take some time off to go vote and to actually practice their civic duties. And so I know, and you've spoken about that before, but what's your ideas on that, and how can we do that? Because I know it's
yeah,
simple.
it's really simple, man. These are the times where we have to stand up as citizens and that sort of thing. One of the things that I brought up, in a previous video that we had was, candidates campaigning on this. I feel like it just goes to the core of if you want true engagement or true voter turnout at the polls, regardless of a party or a side or anything, then we should be advocating for citizens to be able to go and exercise their right to vote and not be penalized at their jobs. I mean, it's essential for the majority of the citizens of our area to work and to maintain. And I would hope that a lot more than have shown up do want to show up, but because of one of those real life situations of not having the time off, not being able to take the time off, maybe not even being able to have PTO to do it, it makes it very difficult for our numbers to grow and us to have more civic engagement when it comes to voter turnout and elections and that sort of thing. So I think it's important for candidates to advocate for election days to be off for those employers provide X amount of hours to go and so we can exercise our rights to vote. So I think that's one important thing that we can do as a citizen. As citizens, I think it's time for us to, we talk about organizing and protesting and that sort of thing. I think it
I
should be
like
something
protest.
that we can bring forth to our employers. At this point in time, I mean, I think it's very important for us to stand up and be like, hey, I want to go and exercise my right to vote. I don't want to, upset the
That
flow of work. I don't want to lose my job, but I do want to go and exercise my right to vote. And I feel like as an employee, employers should provide that without me risking my livelihood.
there you go.
So that's something that I feel like it sounds like a lot, but it's pretty simple. But I think that's the reason why and how we can get our numbers up right now.
That and so speaking to that, I went ahead and pulled up the early voting numbers here. We can see this is the Doherty County line right here, and this was as of May 2nd. A lot more Democrats, and obviously so because this is it's a blue city, but a whole lot more Democrats voted in this primary than did Republicans. Absentee ballots, 42 Democrats and 5 Republicans sent their absentee. Early in person voting, we had over 600 Democrats and over 30 Republicans. 11 people voted nonpartisan, and this was as of what was it? As of May 2nd. So these are the early voting numbers here. But now, as of today, it's a little over 3,000 people that voted total. Is as of
Early.
May 2nd, it was only 719. So there's that. But so that right there though contributes like what we're talking about to the low voter turnout because people aren't able to take off and people aren't familiar with the absentee process. People aren't familiar with all these different things, and I'm a day of kind of guy.
Right.
I like to vote day of, so I'm going to vote tomorrow morning. I haven't voted, and I wait because I want to see my results the same day. When I go vote, I want to know what happened that same day. I don't want to wait and have to be anyway. So I'm voting tomorrow, but a lot of folks aren't able to, and so shout out to progressive candidates that do speak on that issue and bring that up. So let's jump right on in here to these predictions and projections.
Okay.
Let me pull back up some of the joints. Let's start right at the top. Let's start right at the top, man. State Rep 153. And of course we're talking about the Democratic primary here, so this one don't include Brenda Battle, but we got David Sampson, the incumbent, versus Joshua Anthony and Tracy Taylor. And so, speaking of this race, like what have you seen? And I wish I had the screenshots of the billboards and the yard signs and stuff. Based on the what you've seen, who's had the best campaign thus far?
Campaign wise, I do feel like the young brother Joshua Anthony has put forth an amazing effort in campaigning, especially being so young and not even being able to witness at a super young age those times where candidates really campaigned in our area, and those were the Brady Keys days, in my opinion, where
Brady
we could
Keys.
and where we could see actual campaigns and people out doing things in the streets and stuff like that. He's actually been out here in the streets and doing a very good job in campaigning, very good representation of himself, man. There's a lot to come from that young brother, in my opinion, in the very near future. I'm not talking about 5, 10, 15 years down the line. I can see the young brother doing something here major in the next year or two. That shows our young brothers and sisters in that area how to gravitate through, the now political or the lack thereof climate we have in Albany and Southwest Georgia, man. This young man looking at all the stuff that he's put out there, man. It's a beautiful scene, man. To see this young brother, he's super articulate, and so I do feel like he's done the most in campaigning this election cycle.
That's what's up, and I'm inclined to agree. As far as coming out here, like, and you can scroll and see the consistency. It's he's been out here. Hey, I'm on here. He shared my video. Good shot. little different stuff, but you can see he's been out here putting in work, and I appreciate it because
Yeah,
I know when I was out campaigning, a lot of folks were saying, "Oh, you should be doing this and you should be doing that, and why you ain't doing this?" And why, not understanding the work that goes into to all of that stuff and the attention that it takes. But he done stepped up to it and been consistent. So
I'm
knowing
gonna tell you,
what
out of
goes
all
into
the time,
campaigning, but
yeah,
yeah, it's a lot. But yeah, so what's up?
out of over the years that we've talked about how to try to roll out a campaign and this that and the third, man. I think Antonio Screen was one that pulled out all stops, and like I said, at this point in time, I'm in somewhat comparison with Antonio Screen and the young brother Joshua Anthony, because they've been active. I've never seen a candidate that was what I have. That's the type of campaign I had advised for with Antonio Screen. I didn't get the chance to advise on this campaign, but to see him being active in all sectors of the area of the city, it was dope. And Joshua is on the way to doing the same things.
So with that though, will it be enough to clinch the victory and or push the sucker to a runoff? Because you still got Tracy Taylor, who I feel will unfortunately pull some votes and cause some disruption. And so last race though, what's his name? David Sampson beat Al Wynn by like 75%, 25% of the vote. And so I definitely don't think he's gonna come out with 75%. But do you think he's gonna step off with 51% and not let it get to a runoff?
Yeah. I don't believe this seat will go to a runoff at all. And again, I can go. I'm one of the things is going and referring back to the low voter turnout. As I mentioned in the last video, one of the last videos that we did, the number, the demographic of voters that Joshua Anthony would need to get him over that 51% threshold. They're not active. If you look at the clips that I've sent to you and the turnout thus far, we're at a 6% clip of voter turnout thus far. This is not far from the numbers that are actually on voter day on election days. You would be surprised the numbers. And when we go further to the numbers by race demographics, there are more registered voters that are black in Albany and County than there is double. It is double
Exactly.
registered black voters than it is any other race. White race, the white
You,
Caucasian race is next with like 14, 15,000 registered voters. And we're as a whole coming as a result in single numbers when it comes to voter turnout. What do you think the newfound energy will come from in a 6-7 single digit percentage turnout for Joshua Anthony? The people that are in these numbers, the single digit turnout numbers, are politically active, been active, stand on different measurables because they are of an older age. Their measurables are different. The people that Joshua, the young brother, would need to come out, they're not active. We clearly can see it right now, and that is an issue. So more than anything, campaigning is important to tell people what you want to do. You can't say what you're going to do. But what we can do is focus on making sure we're getting these numbers out. Going door to door is good. It's great. Having voter transportation is great. But you gotta, in our society, our city, we're more at work, focus on that, and we gotta focus on the turnout. So I definitely don't see enough to pull a 50. I definitely see David Sampson pulling the 51% easily in this race. Joshua Anthony will have some votes, at definitely. And again, like I said about Tracy, I don't know if he'll have measurable numbers to be included on the turnout. That happens in Albany. If you don't hit a little threshold, they may not even include you on the voter turnout. Um,
You see,
so
so I got these numbers here too, and I'm gonna see if I can't move on. Let me move the tab over here. Come back. Oh no, I done lost my tab. Mr. Patrick Davis, shout out to Mr. Patrick Davis, who's he's a data guy, statistician. He sent me a bunch of different numbers, and I want to read them to you if my computer will get its act together. It's trying to do a lot. I got like 80 tabs open right now. Of course, y'all know. Hold on as I
right,
pull up my joint. There we go. All right, there's the video. Okay, and here's the numbers. Okay, no, them ain't the numbers. What my? It's okay. We're gonna have to come back to it. Okay, there we go.
um,
914. But he regularly sends me a whole bunch of different information. He sent me information actually when they were looking for a candidate for 154. Shout out to shout out to State Rep 154 race with Gerald Green and Ophelia Stato. We're going to talk about that in just a second. But in House District 153, he says there are 3,694 black voters, basically 3,700 black voters under 50 years old that have not cast ballots. These voters cast ballots in November 2022, but have not cast a ballot as of today. So we could see a surge on turnout day on election day tomorrow. But as of when did he send me this email? May 12th. Excuse me. So as of beginning of last week, 3,700 black voters under the age of 50 hadn't voted. And then he sent me, what is this? This sample ballot. Oh, then he sent me this voter list. Wow, that's a long list. I can't share that. That's got everybody's information. Shout out to that. Anyway, so those numbers right there though. And so how do we appeal to these younger demographics? But and then again, too, let's back up because David Sampson, I can't go to his Facebook page because we're not friends on Facebook. But if if David Sampson were to do a good job, I want to do anything, I guess in a position we wouldn't really have a lot of conversation to have because it would be like, hey, let's get David Sampson back in there. But unfortunately, we haven't seen results. And so for me, my question in the conversation is, how can we get younger voters out that are active, or rather who want to see change in their community and are ready for a new young leader to bring that change? Because obviously the older demographic that is voting and consistently voting, they're okay with the way things are. They're okay, they're content, they're happy, and they're fine with the needle not moving. They're fine with the buildings decaying and companies leaving. They're okay with that apparently because they keep doing the same thing. And then you explain that junk to them, they don't get it. So it ain't even for us to try to appeal to these people anymore because they clearly, their brains ain't they're not in the same Twilight Zone we in. They in Twilight Zone. We in the real reality. So
right.
Jesus, how do we get these young folks out to vote? Now, like, you young, now you still young. I don't want to hear that crap, man.
I feel like it just
weigh in the comments too. Let us know if y'all viewing, y'all watching, man. We need new young leadership. That's not even the question anymore. We know we need new young leadership. But doggone it. So how do we appeal to the young people to get to get this new young leadership? But yeah,
I think most importantly, man, before we have to get a clear understanding of our positions and the power or the lack thereof that they hold and how they actually operate. And I think just from a general sense, us being consistent in these conversations, we're then hopefully encourage and educate people in our community at a higher clip and at a younger clip where they're paying attention to how these seats operate. I think once we really understand how they operate and the importance of them for real on an everyday basis and not get it confused with the federal level and the local level, and how that affects or the lack thereof of your life, when they really start to see and accept and how much say we do have in these things that are actually going on in our city. Once they're educated and know, And I know a lot of people be like, well, they have no reason to not be educated. Politics and how shit works is so confusing and divisive all by itself. And right now, it has to seemingly be some type of special circumstances for people to naturally gravitate to civic engagement, knowledge, politics, business on that level. And we just have to present it to them at their level, so to speak, and stop trying to talk over their heads about things like shit. They don't be understanding all that liberal, conservative, and all that shit. Like they just want to know about, hey, what this cat did for me in this area. What is he supposed to do? What is she supposed to do?
Yeah.
First of all, they ain't did this, that, and the third. All right, cool. We need to go holler at them. Tell them, listen, we know what the job consists of. This is what the job consists of. This is what we expect. The direction that Ice Cube took on the Pat for Black America on the national stage was dope. I don't understand why I do, but we need to take that approach on a local level.
There you go. Yeah, and we finna organize an Albany caucus. We're gonna organize Albany caucus. I've been in communication with a couple dynamic young folks who feel the same way we do. We're tired of the crap. We're tired of the same stuff. And the older generation, bless their hearts. Like, and I'm just gonna accept that they're well intentioned. I'm gonna accept that they got the best intentions. But God dang it, they got to stop, because the road to hell is paved with good intentions. And right now we see where Albany is. We're on the road straight to hell, and we see things just falling apart around us. And for whatever reason, everybody's like the this is fine dog. Like, I'm so tired of that. And so we're tired of. And we got dynamic young people that are willing to, you know what? We're going to go ahead and start making plans right now for 2025 and 2026. So 2025 come January, we're going to have a caucus, and we're going to invite the candidates that want to represent whatever these seats are. And we're going to say, what's your platform? And we as a people, and we're going to make sure that it is well promoted. Because one thing that we don't do, or that we do, happens on all Facebook all the time. People will post something one time on their wall and say, well, I put it on Facebook and then nobody come out. But you got to do more than that. You got to put it on your wall, send it in messages, create an event for your event, create an Eventbrite link for your event, share that Eventbrite link. You got to do all of this stuff to cover all the bases, folks. This is just this free game for marketing right here. This is free marketing. This is actually what goes into marketing plans when we actually doing a consultation and folks say, I need to market my event. Well, we put all this stuff down there. So when you are promoting your event, particularly to BVM, Black Voters Matter, Sawika Rising, all these different organizations that are out here doing GOTV stuff and trying to reach the people, you have to do more than enough, unfortunately. And then at the end of the day, you got to still knock on these folks' door and get them a free ticket. But when we get consensus and when we get all of this together, then doggone it, we can see some change. But what are your thoughts on too? Because I had a conversation on my post. What are your thoughts to the obstacles of money and time preventing people from being civically engaged? A gentleman in my Instagram, we've been having a conversation back and forth, but he said, a lot of folks ain't got time to go to the city commission meetings. A lot of folks ain't got time to do all this other stuff, and it's because they work in multiple jobs and they're doing all of this. So, what are your thoughts on that, and how can we overcome that?
Well, the reality of it is everyone is not going to be, or we have to possibly accept the majority will not be active on this level. It's not everybody's responsibility. It's not everybody's call.
It is too, though. Now, if you paying taxes in this bit, if you paying taxes,
that's what I was getting ready. That's what I was getting ready to say. But this is how I look at it. How you look at it too. I'm a tax-paying citizen. I'm a parent of children from 19 to 9 months. All of these things have to do with how the city, the school system, everything is ran. So I'm engaged in it because I'm already engaged in it. When I'm working in that city, I'm paying taxes when I buy houses, properties, or anything in that city. I have to pay property taxes. So my money personally is going into my kids are included in this school system. So I take the personal responsibility to be engaged at any level. Yes, it may be hard because, like I said, we talked about with the election turnout. It is hard for most of us because we're common people and having to work a job and then be parents afterwards, try to make sure our kids are involved in extracurricular activities to try to keep them balanced. It is hard for people to try to, dedicate X amount of time to civic engagement, right? So what I would even encourage is the smallest thing of telling your child or teaching your child or putting a thought in your child's head to, hey, have you ever heard about this? Because a lot of the little civics that we got taught in school, they're not teaching in school anymore. They're not even
There you
talking. We
go.
were already
Exactly.
educated about civic engagement, but they're teaching
Yeah.
less now. So how I
Yeah.
do with my children, because I don't want to push it, force it on them, I just do give thought-provoking statements to them. And then I follow it up by I send you a link. When I talk to my children about the Declaration of Independence and the Bill of Rights and everything, I bought them all the copies that come out of the bookstore. Hey, you could go and check it out. So when you talk about these things, you're knowledgeable of it. So little things like that really would help. But I just, as a mass community, I don't know how how if we'll be able to get the masses out. We just need to get those ones that are interested in a neutral place and everybody ready to work. You understand what I'm saying? And I feel like one of the biggest things before we move on and say anything else, I would hope our people, and we're talking about Albany as a whole, at Albany. I'm not talking about on a state level. I'm not speaking on a national level. I'm speaking as Albany as a whole. I wish we would get off of these teams that we've been put on nationally. Democrats ain't shit. The Republicans ain't shit.
Wait, see,
We
no,
need
wait,
to work.
that's the segue. We can talk.
Oh,
Yeah, we gonna talk about the third party now because doggone it, you right. Wait,
right.
no, you was talking about the education and educating these kids, and so I wanted to bring up real quick this part because them Democrats and Republicans, yes, and doggone it, don't go down that rabbit hole just yet, buddy. Oh, buddy. But this right here, I wanted to bring up this article because Mr. Lawrence Knighton here wrote a very powerful article that was the object of scorn from a lot of people, because in it he talked about the school board elections. He talked about, and I encourage everybody to go to the Albany, Southwest Georgia, the ASWG.com, and check out this article by Mr. Knighton. But he talked about basically taking a stand on certain things that we need when it comes to our elected school board leaders, and what we should expect. And so he didn't mention, well, he did mention Wanda Mallet. He said he liked Wanda Mallet's performance. And he mentioned David Maschke in here. He talked about, David Maschke was tracking the test scores and asking about the results when the cheating scandal happened. I asked my mom about David Maschke and Carolyn Hand. She actually had positive things to say about David Maschke. And so and I don't know him like that, but I met Carolyn Hand a couple times. I like Carolyn Hand. But so real quick, I wanted to speak to this school board race and the impact of the consequences, like of if we do keep what's his name, James Bush in, and we keep who is the it's gonna be a new person with District 1 regardless. But yeah, so District 1's gonna have a new person. But if we keep the same things, basically, we keep going down the same road that we are going with, and we don't take some dramatic change, what can we expect as the outcome? Because our kids are already reading below 30% proficiency. Less than 30% of our kids, when they graduate, are able to read at their reading level. It is sad and it's shameful. And we're graduating these kids, and we tout this 70-something percent, 80-something percent graduation rate or whatever it is, and these kids aren't able to read, they aren't able to do math. And so I have my thoughts and feelings on the forums that happened and how James Bush and Wanda Mallet performed. And I got my feelings on David Mashke and Carolyn Ham, but what do you think needs to happen, particularly in those two elections? What do you think needs to happen so we can actually get some change rolling with our school system?
Well, I think anybody, in my, again, my personal opinion, anybody that's cool with the system as it is and not talking about doing some type of major overhaul to our school system to try to get realistic results. I'm not going to say better results because people get caught up in these numbers and they talk about, I listened to the 3 commencements speeches by all 3 principals at the high school this weekend, and they, I advise everybody to go and listen at them and then pick what principal you would feel like help talked about something that our kids can use later on. But a lot of the talk was about numbers. And our school system lives on numbers and straight testing, and that's it. They're not educating our children at all. So again, just like any other race, but specifically the school board races, anybody that's cool with the system as it is has a problem, and I wouldn't advise voting for them. Because if you don't see a problem with the system now, with our kids, me speaking to educators on a regular basis, we're talking about the number of 18-year-olds that are in the 9th grade that they're still socially promoting, pushing out, and they want to include them in your graduation numbers. That is a lie, and then shows at the end of the day why our kids, our younger generation, are not successful in business and jobs, and all of that type of market is not growing in Albany and Dougherty County because we're not producing. Exactly. We're not producing competent students coming out of high school. We're pushing our children through. And anybody that's still continuing to perpetuate that, I have a problem with. And again, I don't know anyone personally. I'm never speaking on anyone personally. And we'll get more into this on one of them uncut things. But the reason I advocate for a replacement of Ken Dyer, let me explain. As that let me say from a person, just looking in from a personal perspective, not saying that I know him, but if I was just looking at him from parents, no titles, Ken, no titles, all of that, I think it is dope. A lot of people complain about the lack of this. He's had the lack of this, and he's in that position. I think it's dope that the brother's in that position, even though he's had lack of that, because just because you've had lack of this and that don't mean that you can't perform in that position if you worked and maneuvered yourself to get there. Now,
you're talking like my daddy now. That's how my
now let's go take it to another level. Once you get into those positions, you are expected to perform at a certain clip. And if you're not performing at that certain clip, then you should be held professionally accountable for not getting to that clip. It is not personal that I have a problem with anybody that I speak about. It is all professional based and performance in the situation that you're in that I speak from. That's it.
And see, and what more so than that is because your position is paid through tax dollars, dog. Like, that's the issue. Like, you are accountable to the people at the end of the day. If your position is paid for through my labor, through the money that's generated through my day labor and my working and all of this hard and living in here and all this stuff and paying and buying all this stuff, and you get paid from that, you my employee. And doggone it, that's the position that more people need to have and stand on that. When you go to these meetings, these people are serving you. They're supposed to, what do you need? That's their position and that thing. And so too many of us, and the thing is, too many of these people in these positions hold themselves as if they're greater than and they're over these people, and they got to talk down to these slow, ignorant people because they got this degree or they educated in this or whatever, and these folks ain't got. Doggone it, people know what the heck they need. At the end of the day, people ain't dumb, and they know when their needs aren't being met, and they know when their kids aren't getting what the heck they need at these schools. And so if these parents are able to come up here and articulate, hey, this ain't it for my student, whether or not they're able to say, hey, the reading curriculum isn't challenging enough, or whatever the heck they got to say, they know that the needs aren't being met. And if at the end of the day we see all these test scores, where in fact, and I just had the numbers up, I can pull them back up, but I put the link for those numbers in the comments. But we know that there is a gap, a chasm. We know that there is a chasm that needs to be filled where our students' needs are, and what the heck is happening. We don't have no special ed department. We don't got no sped department, and so there's a whole chunk of our young people that are falling through the cracks, and there's no leadership there. And so
let me say this before you get to the special education.
yeah,
For parents that do not understand, we stated this in another conversation. If your child has an IEP,
yeah,
your child is in special education.
that's it.
But they do it a different way. And if your child has an IEP, there are funds designated per student, per school system that are set aside, allocated for special services for your child to receive because they have an IEP.
There you go.
Our children are not receiving these special things, i.e., enough teachers in the school. Paraprofessional funds are included in these numbers. All of these things are not set aside for our children. They just push them through for test purposes. Say that they got their test numbers up, but they do not take or make the effort to help our children excel. So when we were kids, it was special education or you was on this track. Now it's everybody, for the most part. It ain't everybody, of course, but most of our students have IEPs. And me talking to some parents before, they didn't even understand what an IEP was.
Exactly.
So we gotta educate ourselves and be knowledgeable about this, so we can hold these people in these positions accountable. This is the accountability that we have to understand overall. Again, the different reasons that we need to hold them accountable. You can come up with yours, I come up with mine, but overall, we need to start putting some foots on these people's necks because they're comfortable. Everybody in our city is cool with the status quo. And I'm talking about everybody: school boards, city commissioners, county commissioners, mayor, police chief, fire chief, sheriff. Everybody is cool with the status quo. That's why we ain't got shit done in Albany.
And so there's so much we could talk about on the school board. We got a lot more races to talk through and get on. But suffice it to say, the point that you made about basically our education system undergirding everything else, the economy, and how the growth of the city, how things move, it can't be overstated enough. Like, if we don't have a strong education system, if we're not actually giving our kids skills that they can use when they're graduating, I don't know what the heck we're doing. And when we have millions of dollars coming to these schools to help these special needs kids, and then again, too, it ain't even just the SPED department of special needs kids. It's kids with behavior issues and behavior problems and attention problems and different things. Y'all have IEPs too. Y'all kids got IEPs too, and there's money that goes to that school for those kids, which means they could be doing field trips, they could be doing sensory things, they could have different equipment that they can pay for that school, but we have to hold these people accountable. We heard the doggone, I'm not sure if y'all heard the forums, but there are millions of dollars in surplus that the school board is just sitting on, and they have no vision, they have nothing, they don't know what to do, but clearly there's needs, so it's like y'all sitting on millions of dollars. These kids can't read, but y'all don't know what to do with it. It's infuriating, dog. And I'm like, it baffles me why people ain't more infuriated than like to see. Let me calm down. Let me just hold on. Let me
Hey, Lord of passion. That's what it's about.
My blood pressure high, so I've been eating vegan. This is my vegan wrap from Cecilia's Raw in Atlanta. I had to go all the way to Atlanta to get my vegan wrap because ain't no such place here in Albany. And I actually spoke to Miss Cecilia, who owns the joint. She said she's working on bringing one down to Albany. So if that happens, it's because of me. You're welcome right now. So, anyways, let me. Oh man, for real, hold on.
Hey, well, y'all, I know we got to move on to our next thing, man. But I think, I really encourage everybody to please research and pay attention to all seats that's up for election and all things that happen. Whether you're able to dedicate time exclusively to get into it, or through your scrollings on social media and that sort of thing, spend spend 5 or 10 minutes just listening to the videos. It may be something that's said in those 5 or 10 minutes that spark your attention. I know it's not normal, but just scroll, and if you see the Albany commissioners meeting, the county commissioners meeting, or the press conference from the police chief or anything, hey man, just stop and.
Or the goddamn utility board meeting where they raise rates again.
Yeah, because these are things that have something to do with you. Like, these are things you pay your utility bills every month, and some months they're outrageous. Other months they're always outrageous. Fuck some months, I'm sorry, but they're always outrageous. But some months are lower, and all of this stuff. You got to understand why this is happening, what you can stand on, how you can move about these things, and all of this. And before we get on to the other races, mentioning the utility boards, I remember Adam speaking on me posting and everything. We need to pay attention to these board appointments that come available every year, every 2 years, every 4 years. These are things that can happen and help our everyday people get knowledge and make moves that help the common Albany and every day.
Yeah, man. Listen, dog. Excellent points. And doggone we, man, I ain't even realized we're 40 minutes in, dog. The conversation ain't even seen that long. But we got the sheriff to talk about. We got a Superior Court judge to talk about. Let's jump right on in the sheriff, man. Let's jump into the history-making race that is the Dougherty County Sheriff's race real quick. What's your projections on that, man? Kiki Hall, I have not seen a strong presence. Just based on their campaigns between them two, who's had the better campaign and why?
I mean, I would have to give it to campaign-wise. Hayes has had a better presence as far as campaigning and that sort of thing. I'm not sure who's gonna win this. I'm gonna give you I don't have a problem telling everybody who my votes would be for and all of that, because my explanation and reasons never gonna change. I don't care what the conversation is. But in my opinion, I would hope that Kiki gets an opportunity to get that position. And I'll say this is because there has been a lot of questionable stuff that happened within the Dougherty County Sheriff Department and the jail more specifically. When you had them on a couple of weeks ago, Taryn Hayes, that is, a couple of weeks ago, I think the largest responsibility that was not talked about was the operation and the running of the Dougherty County Jail. And
that right there. And I didn't know enough. I didn't know enough to ask about the this and that. And I apologize to everybody because I wanted that interview to go a certain way, and then it went a different way. So we kind of just let it go that way. But I wanted to hit him with some hard junk and be like, hey, what happened over here? But so if you could speak on some of that, because I don't know why this Taryn Hayes is not accepting my friend request, and for some reason it says Taryn Hayes has updated her profile picture.
I ain't no telling. It may be somebody running the Facebook and they forgot to change the event. But either way, one of my biggest things is the Dougherty County Jail has had a number of issues that are questionable over the last few years under the guidance of Sheriff Sproles. And because of how we moved in Albany and all of the nepotism that is practiced there, and it's not for substance purposes, it's for superficial purposes that a lot of people stay in these positions, and then when they leave, they pass it down to someone of the same DNA. So my problem with Taryn Hayes is that he came up under Sproles. And with everything that has happened in the Dougherty County Jail over the last few years, first of all, morale is down, and I can say that because the number of employees are down in the CO. It's a number of reasons that go along with it, but the morale from the head is overall the issue. Another thing is, over the last few years, there have been a number of instances where COs, nurses, inmates have participated in major crimes in the Dougherty County Dougherty County Jail. And it's happened multiple times, just from 2016 to now. We've had multiple instances where we had major corruption in the Dougherty County Jail. And again, going back to what I feel is the sheriff's department's primary responsibility because they don't do no goddamn patrolling, which they should do. But their primary responsibility is that jail, and that jail having all the problems that it had, and Hayes said that he's not looking. These are his words, not mine.
That's real.
He's not looking to change a lot about the sheriff department or the jail. That is a problem with me.
That's real.
You're from the same lineage of BS that have happened over the years. You've been the second in command, or third maybe in command. I'm not exactly sure how that protocol works exactly, but you've been at the top to the point where you're running right now. You're his deputy. You're Sproul's deputy. You are complicit in some of this.
He's Barney Fife.
And you're telling me that you're not going to change any of the practices that have shined a bad light on our jail. I don't think that's cool. Another thing, I think they need to pick up their patrolling. Our police department is short of men. So the sheriff department, now that you've been able to put on a little again, he talked about galvanizing practices that the sheriff department has done. Did you hear him say they've started the ticketing situation where they're giving all the hands-free tickets out? Right? I've gotten one from them, or they pulled me over thinking they was going to give me one. But multiple people have gotten the hands-free. Y'all can patrol and give people tickets, but you can't patrol through, with crime to assist our Albany Police Department. That is a problem. Again, saying that you're not going to change anything through the sheriff department is crazy. Then again, I'm not knocking any programs that anybody have that they're trying to get off the ground through any type of avenue, right? But the jail to job shit, that sound like more bullshit.
Man, listen, now I'm glad you brought that because I was gonna go there. Listen, why that ain't that? Look, that is that's what I thought was one of the best things he could have said, because at the end of the day, if in fact it has any impact, even if it has a little impact, it actually touches the lives of a few people and can turn around some of these people who are just sitting in the system. They don't have access to resources, don't have access to education, don't have whatever, but now they can get it here for free, and now they have an opportunity to switch their junk around. That's a big deal to me. And so,
I'm not saying it's not a big deal, because a lot of the thing is, a lot of people are doing or saying they want to do jail to jobs in some way, shape, form, or fashion. The execution of that is what I look forward to. Everybody be talking about jails to jobs. They ain't had no damn jails.
I'm just saying we hold him accountable. So now, and so he got on the live talking about that. I expressed my interest in helping and supporting and whatever, but that definitely has to be a community push. Now that he's expressed that, now it's on us as a people to hold him accountable to that and say, hey, we're waiting on this and we need to see the results. We need to see you follow through on what you said. Basically, we need accountability. And so that is now our duty to hold him accountable to that. And if he don't follow through, it's our own dang fault if we allow him to stay in office. Then we have to vote for somebody else because you didn't do what you said you would do. That's if you win, because doggone Kiki Ha, hey, I think he moving silence down as far as a prediction on that race. Listen,
he's always from what I've known, interacted with Kiki since I was a kid. So he's always been that stealth, big cut, move in silence, dope guy. That's like I said, on a personal level. I hadn't seen a campaign that I could speak of, really. But again, me looking at the race, I'm not shooting for any particular. I'm not, saying, hey, you should go vote for either or. My reason for where my vote would be in this with Kiki is because I don't trust DNA from the regime that's been in place all these years.
And see, and that's the thing. As somebody who knows both of them, and it lived in Albany for all the doggone years. I didn't, of course, grow up with Hayes. Hayes was at Albany High when I was there, resource officer, and so I've seen the progress and seen when he was on TV and all of this stuff. Now I met Kiki back when I was at Darton, so I've known both of them for years, for more than a decade plus, both of them. And I can completely agree with you. And I asked him that point blank as well. I said, how can we expect change from you when, one, you've yourself expressed that you're not moving to make a lot of change, but also too, all you've learned under this one sheriff all these years, and there's no incentive for you to change. You have these relationships that have been established that need you to hold on. Who is this lady? Oh, this must be Miss Angela Jackson. Okay, all right now. Okay, but and so how can we expect change? And so my thing is, with all the crap that I don't even know about in that jail, and then and the stuff that I do know about, there's a clear need for change. Like so that's my only issue. Love Hayes. Hayes is just in here spent money today, but doggone, I'll give that money back if it means we can expect actually some results from a different candidate or whatever that looks like. I'm out here for change and betterment of the community, and so if that looks like we need to get a Kiki Hall in here, then that's what it is. If it looks like we need to hold Hayes accountable when he gets in here so that we can get the programs and things we need, then that's what it is. But at the end of the day, people, everybody watching, liking, sharing, commenting, it is up to us as a people, as a community, to hold these leaders accountable, regardless of the results of tomorrow. Tomorrow, when you go vote, if you haven't already, the next day, Wednesday, make some phone calls and emails to people. Let them know, hey, congratulations on your win. I'm this constituent in this ward or whatever. This is what we need in our ward, and let's go ahead and start having these dialogues, because that's how we influence the change that we need. And so the lack thereof, if we don't take those steps, we'll continue to see the same things, and we'll only have ourselves to blame. So shout out to that sheriff race, man. Any last statements about that? Because whoever wins that will make history.
Yeah. No, I don't really have too much more to say about that one. I think it just takes us into one of the next two races that are important, and that's like the Superior Court judge and the DA races that are coming up. So, you know,
let's go ahead and let's take a look at Superior Court judge real quick. We at the 51-minute mark. We still in this thing going strong. Listen, in fact, this is gonna be like a CNN, hour and a half special.
Hour and a half special. Try to let it get it, y'all.
But so Superior Court judge, man, we got Miss Victoria Johnson, who appears to be the front runner, and the challengers Michael Tabarrok and Valerie Williams. They're all vying for Lockett's seat, and they all, I think, qualified for the position. But who do you think has had the best campaign out of these three? Who has campaigned the best?
So campaign the best, I would say Victoria Johnson. Let me say why. Just because you see consistent posts doesn't mean you have posts that are engaging or have a meaningful like a real meaningful effect on the voter class. I feel like Mike has had a lot of bullshit posts that really he hasn't elaborated on it enough. He hasn't really went into details. Not to say that it rubs anybody the wrong way. It just definitely makes me question Mike's intentions. I'm not even gonna lie. Like you never know about anybody's intentions, but because of a few things that I know behind the scenes, it really has me questioning if Mike is the right guy for this new age of leadership in all positions that we need. Victoria Johnson, from my research on her, I've never had any dealings with her on a personal nor professional level, but just in my research, I see she's well versed, well traveled. She does be in the community and has been in the community for years. It's not like she's just starting over the last year and a half or something since she's decided to run for this position. She's been in our community heavy for a long time, and she has a view, a world view. She donates her time to go and overseas to do things for less privileged people, and I say that a lot of people talk about that stuff, but I don't think people realize how important perspective is, and being able to step away from your norm and see something outside of your norm, being able to, engage with that on an everyday basis, to see living conditions and circumstances of other people in other countries. She's well versed in that. And I think she's great in her position that she's in right now as a magistrate court. In my position, I mean, in my professional opinion, she's great at what she, in that position. But I think it'll be good for her to get this position again. I have my reserves about Mike. I really do have my reserves about Mike. Um, it don't have. It has very little to do with he's white or anything like that. It's just his approach to this campaign has been questionable. And one thing I'll go
It's questionable to say the least. Questionable to say the least.
No, not just getting into anything particular, but there have been some questionable posts, some questionable statements, some questionable moves that I'm not comfortable with.
He tagged Travis Luke in something. He tagged Travis Luke in something here. But also, I wanted to say, like your boy Tom done said something. I want to hear what Tom had to say.
Albany.com.
What you got to say,
Today
Tom?
with Tom Garrett. And Tom, let me ask you, why do you support me for Superior Court Judge?
Well, there's a lot of reasons, Mike. My big thing with you, I know what kind of person you are. I know your character. We met first in 2017 after the Twin Storms hit January of 2017, and we continued to work.
All right, okay. Shout out to that. Wait, stop. I like. That's okay. I ain't got time for the puff pieces. I thought he was gonna say some legitimate stuff, like well, anyway. But with is for me, like you said, real quick, because I wanted to talk about Valerie Brown Williams as well. But the way this is shaping up, and the way he has campaigned, and the way he is apparently conducted himself in the past in regards to calling the police on the Black Voters Matters folks who was trying to pass out the water, and it wasn't even a law at the time when he did it. Apparently, stuff like that I wasn't able to talk back with him about, but things like that, and his huge emphasis on gangs and prosecuting gangs, and I'm tough on gangs and all of this stuff, turns this into this race thing. It turns it into, you got these black women that's trying to save the seat from this white man who's gonna lock up all your black babies. And so I don't. In fact, real quick, actually, great segue, because I want to go to Valerie Brown Williams. So you have this alternative here, Miss Valerie Brown Williams, who's so soft-spoken and sweet.
Family and friends, brothers and sisters.
I can't even hear her. She's so soft-spoken.
If you haven't cast your ballot yet, you still got until 5 o'clock today to go down to
125
Pine Avenue at the Candy Room and cast.
I think, okay, pause. No, stop talking. Valerie Brown Williams has not had a strong campaign presence at all. And it breaks my heart, actually, because she actually came in the shop and I did some printing for her early on during the campaign. And I thought she'd be back in to do some more, but she hadn't. And I hadn't seen much about it. Her signs, she's got signs out, but she definitely needs a stronger presence. What I don't want is for the same reasons that we expressed hesitation with Hayes, the same reasons I have hesitation with Victoria Johnson. And not saying, of course, that she can't do the job and do it well, but the relationships that she already has in these positions doesn't warrant a lot of radical change and forward movement and forward progress. It warrants just a better maintenance of the status quo, which ain't serving nobody right now. And so unless you're coming in there with the mentality of, I'm going to do a clean sweep, and we're actually going to do some cleaning up, and we're going to get things done, and I don't care whose feathers I have to ruffle to make the positive change for the community. Unless you're coming in with that energy, you're not going to be the effective change that we need for our community. And so that's the thing that I have to stress there. So regardless of whoever gets in, again, people that are watching, it is up to us to hold them accountable to the changes that we do need, not just for them being pretty when they get in the seat, not for them just being tough on gangs if they get in the seat. Like, we need them to actually speak to the needs that we have as a people and as a community. And so with that, with all the campaigning that I've heard, like Tabarak with his gang court thing that he's mentioned, and what's his name, and Victoria Johnson with similar programs that she's proposed. Like, we need to hold them accountable. We need to hold them accountable because, again, they're being paid through our tax dollars. They are our employees. They are our employees. Victoria Johnson, Tabarrok, or Valerie Brown Williams. Yes, you are going to be elected as a judge, whoever gets in that seat, but you are a servant of the people. And doggone it, if please maintain that position when you get there, because if you don't, I will mobilize the people. We will get mobile in Jesus' name. But yeah, so what's your thought? Why are you holding your head?
No, I was just getting so from up. No, I'm with you. This position. I mean, we're stuck with these three candidates right now, and we definitely need to again be educated on this position and what to expect and in what ways we should be holding them accountable. If you haven't paid attention to Superior Court judge and their responsibilities and the things that they do and how they can affect our community, then from this point on, do your research. Make sure you're abreast on who it is, and what their responsibilities are. And, again, hold them accountable to what that position is entailed for, is said to be for them. So, I don't know who's going to win this. I definitely feel like, of course, it'll be out of Victoria Johnson and out of Mike Tabarrok. Definitely. Like I said, I don't think Mrs. Williams.
Oh, technical difficulties. Oh, we're going to have to bring our guest back. Terrence, I don't know what happened. We're going to get you out of there, but we're going to bring you back. While we're working on getting Terrence back, real quick segue to this 154 race. So shout out to all the stuff that we talked about real quick. I wanted to mention that this was a race, and Othelius Cato was in the race against Gerald Green for District 154. And apparently his residency was challenged, and he didn't show up to the court date for the residency challenge, and apparently has been disqualified from the race. And so like Terrence said when we were talking offline, how serious can you take him in that case? And I wanted to Terrence Fowler's back, but I wanted to give him a fair, solid chance. You back, Jay?
Yeah, I'm back, Mike.
But yeah, I wanted to give him, a fair. We were talking about real quick. That's a segue while you was out to the 154 race, and it's very bad. I wish that we could. I wish we had more to talk about on this, but. And so, just what are your thoughts and positions on that? Because I really feel like Gerald Green, not Gerald Green, Othelius Cato had an opportunity to actually make a name for himself in that race if he actually campaigned and did something good and could make a position for a better race next term. But yeah, what's your thoughts?
I'm gonna say this, and I ain't throwing shots because I could throw them directly, but this makes us take you less seriously as a candidate when you don't show up and fight. You can't fight for your damn self. Why do I feel like, or why would I be comfortable in putting you in a position to try to fight for me or the citizens of Albany? 154, like, just don't make any sense. Like, we don't have a lot. Again, we don't have a lot to say. I know I've dealt with Gerald Green in the past. He's a cool guy. Again, we still need new blood. We just need better candidates to run against these older heads. I respect everything older heads have done in all positions. When I speak of them, when I talk about Congressman Sanford Bishop, when I talk about State Senator Freddie Powell Sims, when I talk about all of these people, I respect everything that they've done, but their time is up.
Yeah, and that's it. And a lot of people feel the same way. And shout out to recently at the Rosora plantation, they had the USDA. What was this? The Shiraz Institute Farm Field Day out there, and the U.S. Secretary of Agriculture was out there with some Secret Service detail and all of this stuff, and of course, so Freddie Powell Sims was there. Dukes, of course, I think Winfrey Dukes was out. I don't even know, but a lot of elected officials out there, Demetrius Young and everything, and so it for me. And also, too, that being our extra, they had apparently was doing an interview with the U.S. Secretary of Agriculture Vilsack is his last name. And I'm trying to walk around, go talk to Clinton King. They're like, sorry, you can't come back. What? Nobody I don't even know who this man is. Nobody care about no Secretary of Agriculture. Man, get out of here. Anyway, but shout out to that work though. But all these folks so old. All these people are old. They don't have any vision. They don't know what to bring new. They don't have innovative ideas, and we're stuck just swirling around that ant spiral of death, and it's sad. But these are the ones that come out and vote. So we had an hour and a half, and we still got to talk about if what's the other race that we got left?
Yeah, the Doherty County District Attorney, baby.
Oh man, we got DA and we got the commission seats too.
Yeah,
so let's keep it pushing real quick because we over an hour. So did I make a banner for I didn't make one for the other ones, but we know who's running for DA. We got Greg Edwards versus Elizabeth Gibson. And we just did a live. If you missed the live that we did, we actually had an interview with Miss Elizabeth Gibson on the Voices Radio live on Tuesday, this past Tuesday. It's in the Albany Forward group. If you want to check out that interview, she actually said a lot of real stuff that I think applies to really all of these positions that we're talking about. And she said the reason why there's a backlog in the DA's office and in the courts is because people simply aren't doing the work.
Period.
People simply are not arguing the cases. They're not moving things along, and they are just sitting on work that is not being done. Point blank, period. She said it is laziness, and it is just people not caring about the livelihoods of others. And so that interview was very good. I encourage y'all to check it out. It was like an hour something long, but made a lot of good points. And so to the race about DA, between them two, who do you feel?
I am shooting for Elizabeth to win. You understand?
You adamant on that one. Look at you.
I'm at like no ifs, ands, no buts. Listen, I'm voting for David Sampson, regardless. Like in the primaries and in the general. Period. Like this ain't got nothing to do with no friendships. I'm friends with Brenda Battle. I'm friends with David Sampson. All of this stuff. This ain't personal. But when I speak about the DA, Greg Edwards has been terrible as a DA for at least the last 12 years. And let's be honest, something that's not talked about because I guess people don't want to say anything about it. His health is deteriorating, and he is not at the level where he needs to be in this position anymore. And I do not trust another system person, the person that I want to get rid of. I do not trust them to win and then delegate down to a person that's of your DNA to come and run that position, because you as a leader have not been effective, and that's why we're in the position we're in. So one thing we need to think about, Greg Edwards, I don't know who done seen him, and this ain't got nothing to do with I'm attacking this man personally, but everybody want to make
somebody tag Greg Edwards. Somebody tag Greg.
Everybody want to make it seem like it's all good. This dude can't perform his job at a highest level. There's just worry about your health. Right now, we need a young, innovative, juvenated person to revamp this office, because there are a lot of people, and this is why I want to encourage people to get involved with this type of election. We have a lot of young men and women that are out there right now that could have their cases adjudicated with minimal hits, but they're still in the system in Doherty County and Albany, Georgia, because like Elizabeth said, nobody wants to do the damn work. This lady cut down on hundreds of cases in 60 days because she had a plan. She executed it. We do not have anybody in the district attorney's office that is executing. The morale, going back to what I said about the Albany police chief, what I said about the Albany Sheriff Department sheriff, if the morale is not there for you to increase employees and workers, then you should be questioned. There's supposed to be 16 ADAs in an office. At any point in time, there's never been close to that 100% group of ADAs in that office. Over the last 5 to 6, 7 years, they've been operating with 6 or 7 ADAs in the office and not making sure that work was done. Lack of morale, lack of execution comes from the top. This is not about the person that can get in the courtroom and argue the best case, because you got other candidates. Let me put that out there. You got other candidates that say they're about progressive ways, but still advocating for the old ways and the old people that's in that area, which is why I have to question if you're for real growth in our city. It makes no sense. It is not feasible.
That right there. And so I asked her point blank in this interview too at the end about the decriminalization of marijuana, and she point blank told me, hey, if it's unannounced, I don't even prosecute. As already in a position, and as a DA, she doesn't prosecute, which is her progressive stance against an archaic and harmful law. And so I admire that, and I appreciate her for being for not shying away from the question, answering it directly, and having the right answer to. Because at the end of the day, if you're in any kind of elected position and you have the position that we need to continue to criminalize marijuana, continue to criminalize cannabis, continue to criminalize people for this foolishness, you're not the candidate for anywhere
on any level. Because I had a conversation. I won't say exactly what candidate it is or none of that.
Man, say the name.
Not yet. Hold on. We got I tease this because we're gonna have a conversation about it in the
tomorrow?
next. Probably tomorrow. It'll be probably this week. But I had a conversation with a candidate and I asked them about what's your position? Again, I want to just see what your train of thought is when it comes to moving us forward. What's your position on decriminalizing marijuana? Well, I don't know. I have to think about it. I would say just off the top, no. Well, you're not going to be voted for. You're not going to get the position. We need somebody progressively thinking. Listen, man, I have this conversation, not an argument nor a debate, with my mother about cannabis and intake. I am a consumer of cannabis. I'm not ashamed of it. I'm going to continue to consume it. Actually, I got a little, it's not a podcast. It'll be quick takes. It's going to be a quick take called Too Blunt that I will be putting out here soon over the next couple of months. About everything. You feel what I'm saying? But I have the conversation with my mother about, because you've never experienced it, and you don't have to, but because you've never experienced it, you've never agreed with it from inception. Real church base and all of that. It's not something you can speak towards. But what the problem is not being open to the conversation about it because you're so old school in your approach to marijuana. And again, when we go back to the argument about why we even think as a country, why we think marijuana is even bad, it was a lot of propaganda brought to us by the government to play us on a couple of different levels. So
pause right there. Hold on. Wait, put it right there. Wait. So right now, real quick, that point, because people can't even articulate where the idea comes from that marijuana is bad. They can't even tell you where it comes from. When all the research points in the other direction. And these are the same people who can't tell you where Christianity comes from. They can't tell you about their own belief system. They can't tell you about why the New Testament is mainly made up of the Paul's books, and why, in fact, that actually flies in the face of what Jesus preached. They can't even articulate that kind of stuff. And these are the people that are leading us. These are the people that are voting and continue to vote these inactive, ineffective leaders in. So, young people, if you're tired of these old people who think they know better, and God bless them, they well intentioned, but clearly they ain't in touch with reality anymore. We have to outvote them, because doggone it, they're continuing to use the system, and so we have to now take control of the system from them, because they foolish and they don't know what they're doing. And they sitting on millions of dollars and they're not helping us. So, God dang it, if you haven't voted, young people, please go vote tomorrow. We got to keep just interjecting
Hold
that.
on. I'm going to say before we move on to the next thing.
Continue. Yeah.
Election is tomorrow. Man, y'all go and vote for Elizabeth Gibson, man. I'm going to give my personal endorsement on that, man, like that serious. Go vote for her. Again, I'm voting for David Sampson. That's what I'm doing.
I'm voting for Joshua Anthony, and I'm voting for Cornel West.
That's cool. And I'm voting for Robert L. Kennedy Jr. for president.
There it is.
But
that conversation.
hey, that look. Let me tell y'all, that's gonna lead us down. We got some special stuff coming up about the rise of third party that we're working on, and again, a different perspective from what we know. The rise of the third party is not necessarily saying that we're about the Libertarian Party, the Independent Party. It is about us participating in things that work for us as a community, a caucus. We're going to do things on a local level to try to get some things moving into a progressive level. If you don't know what a caucus is, we're working to try to have an Albany caucus together. But again, we're going to talk about all that stuff later on. But these are ways that you can educate yourself and be involved, actively involved in trying to push Albany forward.
And honestly, too, the last races that we got to talk about is these county commission seats. But I think we know how both of those are going to turn out pretty much. District 1 is Ed Newsom versus Larry Harris, and District 5 is Gloria Gaines versus Tamia Thomas. And in those seats, I honestly haven't seen any campaigning from either one in District 1, Newsom or Harris. I'm not sure what they're doing there, but anyway, so ain't a whole lot really even to say on that race. It's like
it's not a whole lot. They're not doing anything. But one thing I will say about the county commissioners and the commissioners, and we'll just leave it at that, is that we need to pay attention to everybody on these commission boards. Everybody, county commissioner, city commissioner. I don't care if they're white, black, indifferent. They are responsible for the operation and the execution of greatness of our city, or the lack thereof. And right now, it's been the lack thereof for years. Albany taught this shit. And again, the reason why I don't push a team is because you got people caught up in team pep rallies that sit on our Albany commission board, and they're not focused on Albany. They focus on a damn team, a Democrat or a Republican, and not focused on an Albanian. We need to be focused on Albany and Doherty County and making that shit great, not your parties. So stop coming at people with parties, and then it'll be less division in our community if we come at them from an Albany perspective.
There you go. I vote for that. And so real quick to that, knowing and holding each of these county and city commissioners accountable with District 5, Gloria Gaines versus Tamia Thomas. And then real quick, I see you coming too, man, as well. Upset's coming tomorrow. We're gonna talk about your predictions. Go ahead and put your predictions in there. And we'll talk about them. But
as well.
Yeah. So with that, we know that what's her name, Miss Tamia Thomas, bless her heart. I think that she is, in fact, I know that she's well-intentioned. From the last conversation that we had when she came in here, I can tell that she's passionate and wants to do a good job, and if elected, would do her very best to do a good job. My issue, of course, is unfortunately she's not running her own campaign. She can't answer questions about her own campaign, and of course that tells me clearly you're not running your campaign. And once you get in, you won't be running that seat when you get there. There will be others that are telling you what to do, and so with that, I can't vote for that. And so, and I think, unfortunately, a lot of people know that. They're aware of what's going on. They know Michael McCoy is behind her campaign, and to get back at Miss Gloria Gaines. We know that. We're aware. And she's not that the recent signs too. I don't forget who posted it, but somebody showed her new signs that look just like Chad Warburton's signs. So clearly she's working with somebody on Warburton's team or work with Warburton directly. But now her new campaign signs, Mr. Tamia Thomas, they look just like Warburton signs. Same color scheme, same everything. It's bad. I don't like that kind of crap.
Nah.
Clearly, like, and again, that's not to her person, because I think she's a good person and I think she's well intended. But campaigns like that are not respectable, and the people behind them are not respectable, and that's not okay. I don't not like Michael McCoy. I don't got no bad blood against Michael McCoy. Right. No, we cool. So, but that move that's not a respectable move to me. That's not respectable. So that's down on them counter races. If you wanted to, we can tiptoe into this doggone national election real quick and talk about this.
Let's get a little bit. Let's get a little bit in so we can tease them for what we're gonna get into uncut.
And so, in fact, what man's will say real quick? Already voted. You got your popcorn ready.
Popcorn ready, man.
He said, a new DA outsider come into sheriff's office, school board upset. Okay, so a new DA outside, because she ain't an outsider, so outsider coming to the sheriff's office. So you mean Keith and Hall gonna win and school board upset? I hope not. Wait, who upset? Who's on the school board? Man, please listen. We need that one to go the way we think it's gonna go. Okay, we need that one to go the way we think it's gonna go. Anyway, but let me know what you're thinking. But real quick though, too, to reiterate and to hammer down the point, everybody that is paying attention, that is like, shared, and comment and viewing. Election day is tomorrow. If you have not already early voted, if you have not figured out a plan to vote tomorrow, get out there as early as you can and vote. There shouldn't be lines. Find out your precincts. Find out where you go. I got to vote over there by Sherwood Elementary. And so find out where your precinct is and get out there and cast your ballot tomorrow. There's only just over 3,000 people have early voted so far, which is horrible. That's not good at all. Those are not good numbers when we got.
Give me a total prediction. Give me a total turnout prediction for the primaries tomorrow. Now
a total turn.
It
won't break 6,000, G.
Nah, I don't even.
It won't break 6,000.
I don't think it's going to. I don't think it's
it
going
won't
to.
break. And the problem is too, because granted, now I get that May isn't a normal election time. It's usually November. We're trained to think November, but that's the very reason why things like making election days as holidays is important, and why that can be enforced through the community. To reiterate the point, election days are primary days, there's runoff days, there's all these different things. So it's not just a one time every 4 years. In our community, it's a multiple time thing a year. Multiple times a year. So get out here. Hold on. What man's we're going off in the comments? But anyway, real quick to finish the point, please, you all learn about these upcoming elections in 2025. Next year, we got city commission elections coming up. I'm going to be running, so I want to make sure I'm doing my best to tell everybody about these upcoming elections. And so make sure you stay on top of things. What else you got to say about tomorrow and on this local election?
Just get out there and vote for those that give a damn. It's easy for us to get on here, comment, like, share, and all that shit. The most important thing is to get out there on election day if you didn't do it early and vote. You understand what I'm saying? Because these are the elections. Again, they say that I used to hear it when I was younger, but the local elections, the primaries, and elections that held every 2 years are most essential for us on an everyday basis. Exactly. The federal things, yes, it definitely affects us also, but the local elections are what builds or tears down communities. So please, be civically active tomorrow, and from this day forward, if you haven't done it before, be active and get out and exercise your right to vote, man.
There it is. And man, look, we before we get out, we gonna talk about this national election too. So for those that's chilling with us, stay on. We're gonna talk about this third party. But Manswell Peterson says Bush is gonna lose. He said James Bush is gonna lose to Wanda Mallard, and I think that's what a lot of people are thinking and feeling. And honestly, between them two, between their campaigns, I saw a lot more James Bush signs than I ever saw Wanda Mallard's. I think I saw maybe 1 or 2 Wanda Mallard signs. But boy, the way she showed up in them forums was very telling. The way both of them showed up was very telling. Poor James Bush, he looked tired. Wanda Mallard looked like she had a passionate, position for these kids. And so, and then what did he say? 8K votes. He thinks it's gonna be an 8. Man, please, boy, you shooting for the moon with that one. 8,000. Boy, look, in the primary, maybe come November, maybe, because that's when folks gonna come out. They more aware of the presidential, but this primary, I that'll be a blessing, I hope. And then maybe Joshua Anthony have a chance of pulling out some more strong numbers to really make that runoff. But Delisa Sperling, listen, change is coming. We hope so, dog. We hope so. Yes, and signs don't win elections. Listen, them signs. Okay, real quick, because there's a psychology behind these goddamn signs, dog. Whilst signs don't win elections, they do speak. They speak highly and they speak heavily. And it knowing what I know about campaigns and what I went through, it shows where the money is. It shows who has the most funding. And between all the signs that have been out, clearly Victoria Johnson and David Sampson have the most funding of all the candidates. And so we can see that, but and unfortunately that speaks to the sub psychology of the uneducated voter, of the disengaged voter. And when they see that, they say, oh, okay, clearly this is the person I should vote for. And so that does sway and influence, unfortunately. And I wish, though, more people would look at that and dissect it a little bit further and say, okay, clearly this person appears to be the front runner. Let me figure out why that is and what's behind their campaign, and that's what's behind their policies, what's behind it. They don't do that. They don't dig deeper, and that's the problem. So people are easily misled when they see a billion signs along the line, along a freaking vacant lot. They'll see sign after sign after sign on property that nobody owns or that nobody's there, and it looks like, oh, this person has a strong presence. When no, they playing mind games, which I think that's further disrespect. That's further goddamn disrespect, as opposed to you actually showing up with policies. You want to show up with a bunch of yard signs and convince the people that you should be the front runner. People are tired. People are tired, dog. Listen, man. What are you saying now? Roy Barnes, 18 million, Sonny Perdue, 1 million. Were these the numbers? What do you mean? What? Give some context for that. I don't know what you're talking about. Anyway, real quick now, let's jump right into this. Because you made an excellent point, of course. The national elections they're a big deal. These local elections are the ones that impact us most directly and most impact our finances. But in this particular national election, we're seeing something happen that I prayed for years ago, that the rise of a third party would come about and bring about some change that we have needed for so long. Because god dang, when we got these two parties, it's just oscillating between the foolishness, and we can't see actually any real effective change because it's they know who to buy. And we see these major PACs and these major corporations donating greatly to both parties. We see it, we know it. So before I just get too gone, give us your synopsis real quick on this national election and what you think, because people disenchanted with Joe. There's people that are begrudgingly turning to Trump. There's a lot of emotions, but then there's another option. Let's hear what you got to say about it.
I really don't. I've stated over the last few years, the last election that we had, although it was a lot of controversy with it, I stated that election would be the last normal election that we would experience because, it's not about fear factoring or anything, but you have to understand that there is going to be something that happens in this national election, the way that things are going right now. And, this is the rematch that the majority of the country doesn't want to see.
You know what I'm talking about?
They're not, as a whole, we're not behind any one particular candidate more. From political points, they'll tell you because, these voters are turning from Joe Biden, then they have to automatically be turning to Trump. And I don't think that's I don't think that's a smart perspective of it either, because there are other candidates that are actually viable at this point in time, and just because one are turning away from the other doesn't mean that they're gonna one won't vote for Biden or Trump doesn't mean they'll vote for the other just because they don't like this person. I had to try to tell a lot of people in the Republican Party when they're with their approach to the black community, listen, you're not going to get a lot of black people to just jump from Democrat to Republican like that. That's not going to happen. Like, and vice versa. Like, no one is going to do that. This is going to have to be, especially these days, a courtship.
There it is.
They're going to have to see some things. But now, like I stated years ago, I posted, and I'll go find that and talk about it when we do the uncut. But I spoke about how large of a percentage this country is now independent, and it's no longer a Democrat or Republican. This was before we even knew who the candidates would even be. What I was advising for, on either side when I advised politically, no one is campaigning for the people that they need to campaign for. If I got 20 people that's for me, I got 20 people that's against me, and then I got 60 people that's undecided, who are you focused on?
That right there.
I'm focused on the people that's undecided because I already got 20 with me. The other 20 done already made up their mind that they ain't going to be with me. So I'm going to focus on the undecided. No party is taking an approach because they full of shit on each side to represent a independent candidate. I like Robert F. Kennedy for one. It's not, from personal reason, I like the Kennedy family. I state that obviously. But from his approach, now, anybody that's in the president's position is going to have handlers. It is what it is. But we need somebody in there that's radical and it's different. If you get your first independent candidate in the seat of the presidency, it's going to change a lot of things. Now, do I think it's going to happen this time? Probably not. But what I do think is that this time will be such a big number of independent voters that they will have to pay attention to the rise of this third party, whatever it may be called later on down the line. But personally, from a campaigning position, I look at Robert Kennedy's plight before. He's always been a humanitarian. He's been trying to fight for our health care, our food, our water, making sure. And these things today are more vital because at what point in time could you remember water having an expiration date?
Why?
Waters have expiration dates now and things like that. These things that are in our food.
Folks don't understand the gravity of that, and they don't understand too the impact of when water became a commodity that was traded. Like people don't understand the implications of what the heck this means. Like at a certain point, like and again, nobody thought that you have to pay for water back in the day, and now you buying bottled water. Water used to be in a well or whatever. You go get your water from wherever you got
water that's not healthy for you. How are you painting out? So his humanitarian efforts from the past, before he got here, he has now a heart for the people. See, everybody that's been there, President Trump or President Biden, they talked about the heart for people and that sort of thing. Me personally, I feel like they got a heart for war, President Biden, and
have you heard?
A heart for revenge with President Trump. And so that doesn't go well with me. And, Robert Kennedy has a great situation going on. I would personally wish he wouldn't have did truthfully, I wish our independent candidates would have linked together instead of going out getting other vice president candidates. I think Robert F. Kennedy and Cornel West would have been a great independent candidate, a great independent ticket that could have really moved things along. Because if you look at it, this is the reason why I wouldn't vote. I'm not voting for Cornel West. The only reason I rock with the brother, been rocking with him for years, everything. I would vote if we had to for a vice president for Cornel West. Let me explain why. Our vice president takes care of a lot of our international mandates and that sort of thing. He's very versed on the international things that are going on and this, that, and the third. The problem, the reason why I wouldn't vote for him now is he's too concerned about all our Palestinian and other brothers and sisters. I'm not knocking that things may be crazy over there, but I'm more worried about what is going on over here right now. So you feel what I'm saying?
I think too. So real quick, you unpacked a whole lot. When you said a whole lot, we're gonna unpack it. As far as why I'm voting for Cornel West, he and the reason why too he's speaking so passionately about
the field is growing
about Gaza and all of that is because, of course, it's the young people. It's the young people's issue, and he's trying to galvanize the very people that we've been speaking about that need to come out and vote. And right now, these humanitarian issues are what's galvanizing these young people on these college campuses. And so that's why he's speaking so heavily to that, I think. Or rather, I know that's a part of it. But he's also speaking about a lot of other things. He's talking about education. He's talking about like making sure teachers get $80,000 base pay, like nationwide. If you're an educator, you're getting $80,000 base pay. And then, of course, if you got specialist degrees and other things like that, you're getting more. If you're in special education, you're getting more. And so he's talked about that. He's talked about everything that matters to Black people, like that matters to the poor working people, that matters to women, that matters to everybody that has been underrepresented before. This man speaking to it. Like the way RFK is hard on the environment. He's hard on all these different things, which in to me, that they're elite. They're elite issues, you know, or the environment and this, that, and the other. But granted, it's still issues that fall in the cracks between the Democrats and the Republicans. And so, but what Cornel West is talking about is specifically social issues, fixing the prison industrial complex, fixing, you know, all these different things that have been plaguing people for a long time. And so, the reason why this time right now is so pivotal and so important is because there's been an unprecedented disdain and departure from Biden that I didn't expect. I didn't expect people to turn on him the way they did. I didn't vote for neither one of them in 2020. I don't know who I voted for. I just abstained from the presidential election because I couldn't bring myself to vote for Biden because of your freaking crime bill and because of the freaking the pandering. Like if you don't vote,
he's the biggest warmonger in the history of our country in Congress.
And if we're being real and we hold true to our values, we're not gonna just be like, okay, well, I'm just gonna vote for it anyway. No, do something different. And the reason why I can't vote for Trump is because of the mess that he did with the Central Park 5, doing all that mess against these innocent young black boys. You did that then. That's in your heart, my nigga. You're gonna do that to me and my young black boys. Like, so F both of y'all. And I'm so glad now that we have an alternative. We have a third party alternative. And shoot, it could be a Cornel West, it could be a RFK. But so the impact of this is, though, that now that we have this third party option, and now we can draw a wedge. If this third party, any third party candidate can get at least 5 to 10% of the vote, buddy, it changes the whole landscape of everything. Then it changes how third parties can be funded in these states, and changes how they can get ballot access in these states, making it easier for more populist issues to be heard and more of our social issues to actually take precedence. Because right now, we can scream all day long in the street about this, that, or the other. Black voters matter, about January 6th, whatever the heck your issue is. But these fools ain't finna hear that because we don't have no representation at the end of the day. You elect a Democrat or a Republican, you represent, you've just elected a corporate puppet. You just elected somebody that's spending money, taking money from you.
And let me make this point. Let me make this point because a lot of people won't pay attention to this specifically. When it comes to we just got the announcement that we'll have 2 presidential debates between Biden and Trump. The problem with that is if you get to a certain level as far as number wise, and again, you can't go through a lot of polling. A lot of people say based on polling, they give you an opportunity as an independent candidate to be included in the debates. But let me explain to you. RFK Jr. has definitely hit the threshold to be included in these debates by all TV and media rights. But if he's not included in these debates, let me explain how the Republican Party and its representative Donald Trump and the Democratic incumbent, which is President Biden, is infringing on what they all want to talk about, the possibility of having a true democracy. Because if you want to leave RFK from the national debates that you all have had, because you're afraid of the real possibility of him being able to get that position, then you're not about democracy. I hate people talking about a fucking threat to democracy. You motherfuckers are threats to democracy in your lack of action when it comes to that specifically. If Robert F. K. is not on that debate stage for those two debates, and he's already reached the threshold, I want you to go and do your own research on this. But if he's not on that debate stage, it is because President Trump and President Biden and their teams have decided that we want to give you 1 or 2 choices, and you go down pick 1 or 2. We ain't gotta go for that. We don't have to go for that. We have Cornel West, we have RFK Jr. out here on these ballots, and we need to show these people that we tired of this 2-party bullshit system.
That right there. It's there's 2 ladies. There's a 2-lady party. I forget which. It's another third party. I need to go find it real quick. But that Claudia and Karina, they're running out of California. I think they won the California Democratic or not. Hold on, let me go find the information. But anyway, they're another third party. 2 ladies, very outspoken, very powerful, and they're talking, of course, on all the issues that matter to the people. And but they're galvanizing all of California, buddy. California is heavy with them. They have rallies and sell out. It'd be hold on, I'm trying to find these. Claudia, they on Instagram. They so modern. Claudia _Karina 2024. If y'all want to check them out. In fact, I'm going to put it in the comments. They're another third-party option. Now, granted, they of course know that they're one of the longest shots. They're probably not going to get placed, but the purpose and the power of these third-party candidates right now, including Jill Stein, including others, is to bring one awareness to the main fact that the institutions that are currently in power, the Democrats and Republicans, they don't want, like you said, a true democracy. Because if that were the case, they would invite these third-party voices onto the stage. And if you feel so confident about your message reaching the people and your message being of the people, it shouldn't matter what anybody else has to say. But clearly you're not connected with the people, and clearly you don't have the people's best interests at heart, and clearly you can't be transparent about how you've been moving and how you've been spending this money. And so somebody who's not in your little clique can come out and challenge you on that. You don't want that. That's the same mess that we see here in Albany when these elected officials don't come out to my forums, specifically mine, and any other forums where they're going to be asked any hard questions and held accountable. We see the weakness and the timidness, and that is not leadership. That's totalitarianism. Honestly, it's under the guise of democracy. But if you have this two-party system that's funded by one huge oligarchical system, we don't have a democracy. We have an oligarchy. We know that it's been the case. And people that constantly advocate for Biden just because he's a Democrat, specifically you black people, y'all are part of the problem. Y'all are part of the problem. Kamala Harris has done nothing for black women. All you black women that came out and voted for this woman just because she was
like, chucks and pearls. Where them chucks and pearls at?
Yeah, where y'all chucks and pearls at now, dog? What can you point to that Kamala Harris has done dramatically for anybody? For any human, like for any human, like and again,
nothing but a whole bunch of shits and giggles, and I mean giggles and shit. For real.
So with that, being honest about the fact that the leadership that we have in power now has not done anything. The fact that doggone Poe Biden look like he gonna croak any minute, any day now. I'm just looking for the headline: President Biden dies in his sleep. Like, god dang, nigga. Like,
and when we go to the age thing, like, look, I would hope that people start doing very like realistic comparisons to people and all of this shit, man. Please don't fall for the political propaganda and pandering. You know what I'm saying? I was listening. I don't listen to radio. I listen to sports talk radio most of the time. I don't listen to the regular radio because that shit I don't be wanting to hear all that.
It just be noise, man.
Yeah, but I was actually listening to radio here in the city and riding, listening to a couple of stations, 107.9, B103, that sort of thing. And I heard the advertisements for President Biden, against Trump, and it'd be like, well, Trump did this and Trump did that, and do you want this and do you want that? No, motherfucker, I want you to say what you done did or not did, because you ain't did shit. That's the thing. Like, y'all want to talk about shit that's emotionally attached to Trump and shit, but you ain't did shit. Only thing our whole administration, the Biden administration, has done, like, we can go back to talk about what they've done to make things worse for us as citizens. I don't advocate for a fucking party. Please understand, I'm not telling you about Biden's indiscretions because I like Trump more, or not telling you about Trump's indiscretions because I like Biden more. I'm just telling you. You look at things that affect us on an everyday basis. Right now, we still having gas problems. You know when that started? You remember that, y'all? We talk about this first day of Trump new dictatorship he say he gonna do. Well, Biden actually did that, cutting off our fucking gas pipeline on day one. On day one, fucking up our pockets as people. That administration did that. Then they lied and said we ain't did that. Who did that? Then they got found out that they did do it and still lied about it. Things like that, like with Trump and how he's saying, like, I don't rock with Trump this time because it's more of the same old bullshit. And I done said publicly, like, that same bullshit ain't gonna work. It's all about division, all of that shit. Regardless if he's talking about he gonna be a dictator for one day or not, like, that shit don't really matter. He ain't gonna be able to do certain shit anyway.
But clearly, the main thing that he does have going for him is that apparently the system is against him, and so
system in place now, in power now, is definitely against him. They
weaponizing that whole junk. And in one of his most recent rallies, he made the comment, and I keep saying, like, and I'm not sure how serious that he is, but he's the only candidate that's saying it. He said, if I was president, we wouldn't even have a war in Gaza right now. We wouldn't even have the war in Ukraine. I would have handled that. And so, but to me, in other statements that he's made before that, saying, oh, we don't need to continue to fund this. We don't need to da-da-da-da-da. And breaking down that bill, he tried to block the spending bill like his last year in president, when he was the president. He went live on that whole press conference and read out every piece of the bill and was like, why are we doing this? This is bad. And so that he clearly is against the war movement. He's against the military industrial complex. And so they freaking trying to get this man out of here. And so that says a lot right there. Again, I still ain't voting for the man, but that says a lot.
Hey, it says a lot, man. Like I said, when it comes to our the wars that we're trying to fund, the money and all of that stuff, man, it's ridiculous. Now, again, just truth be told, President Trump increased the defense budget when he came into office at an exponential rate. It was a story. Biggest defense bill at that time, that when he came in, that was approved, and he had no problem with it. It's not about the war that he was going against, right? But I mean, he was trying to go into war. But the funding of our military for whatever purposes is being crazy. And I really feel like, and this, again, go and do your research, but our budget for our military is atrocious, and it keeps growing. We talk about the national debt and all that type of shit. The national debt has grown exponentially over the last, I'm going to say 20 years, because we fought a war in Afghanistan that had no way of ending, didn't have no plan, and it cost us hundreds of thousands of lives and billions of dollars from our situation. The same thing that's happening right now. If you look at it, Dems lately have been set on war. It used to be the other way around. Mm-hmm. Republicans used to be set on war. Dems were trying to stay away from it. Dems are now in war. And let me also say, before we get off, because we got to go into that uncut shit later, but let me explain to you what people don't understand about the whole Russia-Ukraine thing and all that. Me personally, I don't think Vladimir Putin is even thinking about going to war with the United States. I don't know who all watched his interview with Tucker Carlson. But Vladimir, and this has been I've been doing studies on multiple leaders in multiple countries over the years. Our government is telling us that they're the bad people, when really our government is the fucking bad people. Russia is not focused on the United States. The reason why they're in an adamant battle with us right now is because the United States did something that they promised in a treaty that they would not do, and that was move east towards closer to Russia and recruit Ukraine as a NATO country. There was a declaration signed, an agreement signed, that we would not do that. Whenever, fuck the excuse they're telling you why we got into it, it's because we infringed on Ukraine, knowing that Russia would retaliate because they said this. So saying that Vladimir Putin is trying to be this dictator and he wants the country, and even over in China and all them, they want to go war with.
Okay. Your audio gone. Can't hear you. Oh no. You was making good points too. Hey, you was talking good too. Yeah. He'll come back. We'll bring you back. Look, excellent points he was making. I'm gonna continue on to make some of those points and more. But so, before I continue, of course, reiterate, Election Day is tomorrow. If you haven't early voted, haven't made a plan to vote, please come out and vote. And Yeah. Oh, okay. Terrence back. He's back. All right, we're gonna get him back in here. But make a plan to early vote because, yeah, election day is tomorrow, and a lot of these issues, actually, too, that we're talking about that are even on the national level, they still trickle down to the local level. So the people that you have in local representation, i.e., these state reps and different things like that, they have to have relationships with these people up in Washington. They have to be able to bring money down. They have to be able to be effective in the seat. So please pay attention to all.
Hold on. Before you get off of that, because I'm gonna be done. I want y'all to do y'all research. It was a story put out on WALB or in the paper a couple of weeks ago about money funds that are available for the city of Albany and Dougherty County that have not been lobbied for from our representatives in our area. It's something I spoke on like a year ago. The money's being available for different things in our communities, but because of this party shit, our representatives from this area will not go and talk to the governor and his people to get this money down to us. Yes, federal funds be in a lot of places in the state of Georgia and all states, but it never gets to the lower levels because your representatives don't go up there and advocate for it.
And who's our current state rep right now?
Our current state rep I'm talking about on all levels. Hold on. I'm talking about all levels. David Sampson is there. And look, this is what I want to say. I told y'all this before. David been there 4 years. If he don't do nothing in these next 4 years or able to do something, then we could go back and have this conversation. But as far as Congressman Sanford Bishop, Freddie Powell Sims, and anybody that's been on the Albany City Commission board for years and ain't did shit, your time up. We looking for a retirement plan for you. You cannot continue to perpetuate old stuff that's coming up. They keep putting stories in this newspaper in Southwest Georgia and stuff about this money that Congressman Sanford Bishop got to this place and that place. If you do your research, this money has been in the pipeline for 20 years. And it goes to the same damn 2 places that he's been associated with for the 35 plus years he's been in office. It ain't nothing new. He ain't going to get no new money. He ain't doing no new nothing. You look at Freddie Powell Sims, most of her work is done in Valdosta. I ain't dumping on the fact that she doing work. It's just not benefiting us. And we need new blood to be in these positions. Again, David Sampson, I know he's trying to make sure things change so it can be a more productive position, which is why I stand with him. He know the job way better than most people, and he can explain it. But it is some stagnation that goes on that if he doesn't, be able to make better moves in this second term, we got to have a conversation. But more than anything, let's talk about these people that's been there and ain't doing nothing right now. We need new opportunity, new growth, new everything to come down here. So we need to think about our representation and all the people that we so love. I know Sanford Bishop personally since I was a kid. I mean, really know Sanford Bishop. Freddie Powell Sims used to beat my ass at Westtown, paddle me all the time. Love, respect her as my principal at Westtown Elementary. She's never been anything bad to me or none of that. Time is up because we're stagnant in Albany and Dougherty County because of our lack of aggressive representation.
That right there. And see, so we definitely agree on all that, Don. So real quick, and we had a minute 52, man. We coming up on 2 hours. I wanted to segue really quickly to this this mess right here. Part of the reason why people don't take politics serious is because foolishness like this, Don. Like, well, and I'm not thinking, women being catty, because the men do it too. But this back and forth name calling and the foolishness. Nah, we're funding this. We're funding
and that's why they're foolishness. That is why they're doing it. All this stupid shit you be hearing people do on TV. They're fundraising off of foolishness. You understand what I'm saying? They are fundraising off of foolishness. Everybody that get on these TVs and start doing some grandstanding shit, I don't care what party they're in, they're being funded by their doggone fans after they do this shit. And they don't even talk like this and interact like this with each other outside of these cameras, off these cameras. Thank you. But they got us as people reacting to what's being publicized and propagated on our TVs, which is why you got to be knowledgeable and educated on politics and how this shit works. Do not get caught up personally about what's been going on in politics. Politics is business. You got to be educated.
And so one thing too that I always say, when I moved up to DC, I got to see this junk and these people up close. So I'm actually chilling with their staffers and their legal aides and their different ones. And so I'm going to the bars and stuff where they hanging out. I'm going down there to Hamilton. I'm going down to 14th and K. I'm going down out here. So I'm interacting with these people, and I'm able to like, oh, y'all niggas was just fussing and arguing at each other's neck before, but now all of a sudden y'all out here and everybody sharing drinks, we laughing, y'all riding on the train together, y'all like. So it is WWE, dog. It is so much just fugazi. And so, like you said, once they leave these chambers, they're not talking to each other like this anymore. They don't have this type of engagement. It's so professional. It's so professional, or they don't engage at all. And so all of this is we have to hold these fools accountable and say, you know what? When you up there representing us, if you're not getting business done, you don't need to be there. And if this is how you're going to spend our taxpayer dollars doing this, like you don't need to be there.
Yeah.
Hold these people accountable, dog. Granted, it's entertaining. It's whatever the heck, but that's not their purpose. That's not what the heck they supposed to be there entertaining y'all, so y'all can make memes and all this stuff. Bad built, butch body, baby, bitty. Shut up, y'all. Did you vote? Did you goddamn vote? Do you know what the heck this person's policies are? Do you know what bills they voted on? But no, you know, bad built, butch body.
And you sharing that like that shit funny. Like
that, you know what I'm talking about? Like
that's the shit that we sensationalize. We sensationalize stuff of no substance. That's what we sensationalize, and that's a problem in the community. Is because we do that type of stuff.
That right there, dog. And so you go. That's the only time you engage with politics, when stupid junk like this going on. But when it's actually an important vote, like Senate Bill 63, where goddamn they adding 30 new offenses to the cash bond list, like. You have no idea about this stuff, like, and this is troubling. It's upsetting. It's frustrating. I'm so sorry. I'm neglecting the comments. Who left the comment? I'm so sorry. Boom. Oh yeah, the least person off. Waste of taxpayers' money. Exactly. Dog. I'm tired of it, and I wish more people were more tired of it as well. But doggone, we've got an opportunity tomorrow, y'all. We can't reiterate that enough.
I guess we got at least 2 hours tomorrow, right? Because it's gonna be a lot to talk about late night. It's gonna be one of them late night ones because we want to see
tomorrow gonna be
right?
It's gonna be a long talk tomorrow, man. Listen, so and with that, let's go ahead and wrap this junk up. Do the due diligence, man. Listen, make sure everybody that's tuning in, make sure y'all like and share and comment and everything. Of course, this is an engaging conversation that we need to have more regularly, and we're gonna have another one tomorrow on election day. And we're going live with the results and see how things turn out, see who predictions came out close. But if you, again, have not made a plan to vote and have not voted, please get out and vote tomorrow. A lot of these races that are on this ballot will not make it to November. They will not be on the general election, or rather, they'll be running unopposed. And so make sure that if you plan to vote for all of these races, that you get out tomorrow, because all of them won't be there. All the choices won't be the same choices in November. Any last words? What you got to say to the people, man?
Hey, man, I just want to say, just reiterate, y'all go and vote, man. Get active as much as you possibly can. Listen, if you can't make it tomorrow for work purposes, I advise you to get going with your co-workers, and y'all try to get something together. So in November, when this general election comes around, you'll have the ability to go and vote and exercise your right to vote without having to worry about, if you're going to be fired or have any repercussions and that sort of thing. So let's
that mess right there, dog. That right there.
Yeah. So let's get out there and try to do that, man. We got things coming. Me and Adam be on here tomorrow. We working on a documentary, Rise of the Third Party. We'll talk about little clip session thing. It's not a podcast because I'll just be talking randomly about things for like 2-3 minutes each. 2 Blunt coming soon. And one thing I do want to talk about, I've been working on, is criminal justice reform real big, man. Y'all go check out Bosco the movie. It's on Peacock. Me and the brother that this movie is about had a long conversation a couple of weeks ago at a criminal justice reform kickoff tour, and it's a cool movie to talk about something different, and it focuses on criminal justice reform and being able to do some things, because that's important. We can't lock up the problem, not all of them, just like Travis Luke say. So we want to try to give a more aggressive approach to trying to help our people that's going through these systems, which again is why you want to go and vote for Elizabeth Gibson tomorrow, because she's going to move a lot of our people through the court systems that's locked in Albany, just because of lack of execution. So that's all I got to say about it, man. I can't wait to talk about the results tomorrow night and have more engagement with everybody. Make sure y'all go like, share, and everything. We monetize. Finish that up, Adam.
Yeah, exactly. As he said, we are definitely monetized on this platform. So if you send us some stars, we can get some money and some fun. We can keep bringing some dope content and everything. And of course, again, if you found anything exciting, life-changing, helpful in any way during this podcast, please share it. Please let everybody know what the information is, and please join the Albany Forward group. We up to like 523 members now. We're well over 500 now, so we're trying to get to 1,000 now. But listen. It is up to us, y'all. It is up to us at the end of the day. If we do not hold these elected leaders, elected officials accountable to what they're saying, what they're not saying, what they're doing, it is on us. So we'll see y'all tomorrow. We're going to be looking at these election results. And I appreciate y'all. Love y'all, two fingers. See y'all.
See you.
Wait, you know what? Hold on. Wait. Hold on. I can put this on there. Hold on. Wait with it. Well, I did.
I need like that. That's what I'm saying. Cause I've been trying to be practical. Let me take a sabbatical. Apparently what I'm saying too radical, and y'all can't stomach.